फर्क पड़ता है. Request you to settle in, please. Good morning everyone. Has everyone got their seats, please? And can I request you to settle in? And ladies and gentlemen, no cell phones, please. I mean, I'd ideally like you to leave them outside, but I know that's asking too much. So could we just maybe turn them on silent or switch them off for the duration of this program? So good morning, everyone. For those who don't know, my name is Vinita Bimbet. I'm a past president of FLO. May I welcome you all to the 35th annual session. We have a power-packed, inspirational time ahead of us today. But before we start, a short film highlighting the events of the year for you to watch. May we have the FLO film for this year, please? I hope you all enjoyed the film. I think more than 50 events took place in Delhi, from training programs to taking delegations, receiving delegations, mentoring sessions, inspirational speakers, very special programs. And today is a very special day. And with no further ado, I'd like to call upon the lady who has been making the year special, FLO President Pinky Reddy, to make her welcome address.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being an amazing audience. This year has been quite amazing for me. So I love the number 35, and I happen to be the 35th president of FICCI Ladies Organization. It is my real pleasure to address you all today as I reach the culmination of my term as FLO president. As women play an increasingly important role in taking the country forward, FLO is best positioned to play the role of a catalyst in bringing about a transformation and shaping the future of our country. Hence, the theme of our 35th annual session is Women Shaping the Future. With immense pride, I must mention that FLO has emerged as one of the most prestigious and recognized business organizations. FLO's V initiative has been about empowering the economically weaker section of the society and including them in the economic mainstream. With our FLO Women Directors Initiative, we prepare women to become meaningful contributors on company boards. We have a legal and advocacy cell. We have also created a women's industry park in Hyderabad. Our business consultancy cell, Swayam, creates entrepreneurs and mentors them through their journey. This year, we partnered with Apollo Hospitals and launched the FICCI FLO Wellness for Women mobile application. FLO also, with IWFA, presented Khadi Goes Global at the 63rd session of the Commission of the Status of Women at the United Nations. All year long, we have worked towards providing a meaningful experience for our members through speaker interactions, networking events, workshops, delegations, and awards. This occasion is very significant for us as we have amidst us Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla, Chairman of Aditya Birla Group, as our chief guest. Thank you so much for flying in just for an hour for us. We also have with us Ms. Shobna Bhatia, our guest of honor. She is the editorial director of Hindustan Times Group. And the most important, she is the past president. So she is one of the ones who made quite a few rules in our rule book. So her presence is even more significant here for us. Thank you so much. I'm sure you'll enjoy the morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pinky. From the bottom of our hearts, we'd like to thank our chief guest and our guest of honor for making time to be here. Could I request Pinky Reddy, our FLO president, to felicitate Shobna Bhartiya ji and Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla? May I request you to please come on stage? First, Shobna Bhartiya ji, yeah, between those two screens, Pinky. We'll go with the ladies first. Shobna Bhartiya ji first. Yes, please. May I please request you to come on stage as well? Jyotika Jalani is here. Thank you. And now Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla, please. And now we'd like a photograph for our archives. Could I request immediate past President Vasfi Bharatram, President-elect Harjinder Kaur Talwar, Vice President Janhvi Phukan to please join us on stage for a photograph. Jayanti Dalmia, Poonam Mahajan. I think Rashmi Sarita will complete the entire presidium. Come. So we'll have a photograph for our archives, please. Where is Sumita? Okay. Let's get an official photograph for this year. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our presidium for 2018-19. As it changes at the end of the year, this is a great photograph for our archives. Thank you so much, ladies. Can I request you to take your seats? You could sit on the stage, please, all of you. Thank you. We shall now release our annual report. Pinky? We shall now release our annual report. Shobna ji and Mr. Birla, please again join us in the front to release the report, please. Thank you. Pinky, you can hold this one. Pinky, hold this one. Our guest of honor, Shobna Bhartiya ji, is chairperson and editorial director, Hindustan Times Group. She was the first woman chief executive of a national newspaper and probably the youngest. She is considered to be the force behind the transformation of the Hindustan Times into a bright young paper. She is recipient of several awards, including a Padma Shri. As member Rajya Sabha, she introduced the Child Marriage Abolition and Miscellaneous Provision Bills 2006. She is truly a woman shaping the future, and we're delighted to have her here with us today. Shobna ji, may I request you to deliver the special address, please?
Thank you, Pinky, and congratulations on a great year and an amazing performance. When I felt I was coming to FLO, it was like nostalgic, bringing back memories. But honestly, it's an organization that I don't recognize. And I'm so happy to say that the transformation is just so complete, a big setup, so many of you in attendance, so many chapters, so professional. I remember being part of a core team that conceptualized and FLO was started. One of our former presidents, my predecessor, Abha Dalmia, is also here. It used to be a challenge for us to organize any function, to call any chief guest, because the biggest dilemma would be, how would we get enough women interested? How would we get the hall full? And we would fall back on FICCI and ask them to loan us some people. And then we would say, can we have some women as well? So at least it looks like we've got some professionals sitting there. And that used to be a big impediment. You know, how do you call a person and not even have 40, 50 people in the room? And at that stage, we were still busy trying to instill the idea of entrepreneurship in women. And now to see so many of you here is obviously enough evidence that women are getting into business. All of you have started something, that women are generating jobs, creating institutions, and redefining political equations, redefining power shifts, all because of having an idea and the will to pursue that idea. So you have women today cutting across different segments, whether it's finance, whether it's power setups, whether it's fashion, in other areas as well. To my mind, the most important thing for an entrepreneur is to really have the ability to have the idea, to carry it forward and to scale it, and not to be afraid of pulling back and not to let any short-term obstacle come in the way of not having confidence in future positive achievements. I've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years, and I was greatly inspired by women both younger and older than me. And every time a woman actually conceptualizes an idea and takes it to fruition, she encourages and motivates others. She inspires others to follow. So I'd just like to leave you with the words that, to me, entrepreneurship actually defines risk and passion. But most importantly, above both these, is optimism. So never lose that, because when you embark on this path, there are going to be challenges, but you need to be an optimist and you need to move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shobna ji, for those words. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to our award ceremony. Each one of these ladies has a story that matters. Stories that matter are stories that awaken our spirit to issues and stories that make us think. So we will, with no further ado, move on to our first award winner, Geeta Tandon. Our first award winner is Geeta Tandon, a tomboy by nature. She saw only poverty and hardship in her childhood. Marriage at 14 was abusive, with a father who did not want her back, a husband who beat her, and 2 children who deserved a much better life. She had no avenue open to her except to run away. She stayed with her sister, did menial jobs to get by, hunting incessantly for jobs. She got one as a stunt woman. She knew how to ride a bike, and the job was hers. A professional stunt woman for the last 10 years, she now owns her own comfortable home, and her dream is to become an action director. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So here is a short film on Geeta Tandon. Film, please. Geeta, may I request you to please come on the stage to receive the award. Ladies and gentlemen, Geeta Tandon, FLO awardee for Women Shaping the Future. Geeta, would you like to say a few words after this? Please, yeah. Geeta, would you like to say just a few words?
अच्छा लगता है कि आई एम ए वुमेन और यहाँ तक पहुँची. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Our next awardee is Dipali Sen Gupta. While she was growing up, not fitting in was her biggest weakness. She wasn't good at studies. She was a teacher's daughter and therefore was left out of everything at school. She moved to Kolkata for a better life and had a traumatic experience at the hands of a relative. Whatever confidence and self-worth she had vanished. Suffering hugely, she moved to Bombay to give herself a fresh start. Scared, nervous, broke. To pay the bills, she joined a training company for hotels. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, she discovered that she was good with people. And a little later, she set up a company called Outreach, which has completed 15 years today. And her first client gave her a profit of only 500 rupees, which she says she ate a full meal with that for the first time in a long while. Today, she owns a wellness consultancy which runs spas and gyms in Mumbai. She rides a bike. And to quote her, "In a beautiful sari, with the wind in my hair, I finally know I was never meant to fit in. I was born to be this badass." Dipali's film, please. Dipali, may I request you to please come on stage and receive your award? Ladies and gentlemen, Dipali Sengupta, FLO Awardee for Women Shaping the Future. Dipali, would you like to say a few words, please?
Namaste, everyone. Thank you, a very big thank you to FLO to recognize this, and I'm so happy to be here. I didn't know a story from a waitress to an entrepreneur will mean so much, so thank you so, so much. Thank you, guys.
Charu Bajaj, born in Meerut, where she was not expected to go out of the house or study too much. She was married at 21, a mother at 22, and she felt caged in by the household chores, and she wanted to do more. She wanted to find a purpose. She did her B.Ed. It wasn't easy, juggling home, cooking, cleaning, child, homework, but she did it. And for 8 years, she taught at schools, and she managed to save a part of her salary. Eventually, she worked at a corporate firm where she trained teachers, and she never said no to an opportunity. She traveled to different cities to work with schools. She met directors, principals. She made presentations. She caught late-night flights for meetings next day in another city, and she loved every minute of it. A supportive husband took over PTA meetings, and they both had to shoulder questions like, "Why are you abandoning your children? Why do you keep traveling to different cities for work? Do you have money problems? Is that why your wife works?" Anyway, after 13 years, she decided to take the plunge and start her own company, Skills and You. They teach various teaching skills, and it was a small rented office with 1 employee. Today, the team has trained 50,000 teachers, close to 10,000 school leaders in over 80 cities. They have received significant funding, and to quote Charu, "I finally feel like I am where I deserve to be, balanced and CEO of both my company and my home." May we have a film for Charu, please? Charu, may I request you to please come on stage to receive your award? Ladies and gentlemen, Charu Bajaj, FLO Awardee for Women Shaping the Future. Charu, would you like to say a few
It's an honor to be here at FICCI FLO. I just can't express. It all started as a teacher. I'm still a teacher by heart and a learner by passion. So when I train my teachers, I instill in them a lot of motivation that each one of them is a possibility. So I still believe in that, and each one of us sitting here are a big possibility. Big support and a big thanks to my friend Nishit, who has been always by my side for whatever I have done. Thank you, Nishit.
Anmol Rodriguez. When she was 2 years old, her father stormed into the house where she was sitting on her mother's lap, and he poured acid on both of them. She doesn't remember any of this. She doesn't remember the pain. She doesn't remember the suffering. She only knows this because her doctor, who has treated her over the years, told her. She just knows that she lost her mother to this attack. Her relatives disowned her, her father fled the city, and she grew up in an orphanage. The doctors and others at the orphanage showed her love and kindness. The actual struggle began when she stepped into the real world for college. No friends, sitting alone, eating alone, and trying to be invisible. So conscious of her scars that she felt everyone was staring at her. Eventually making friends, this 23-year-old girl, full of grit and determination, decided that she had to clear her mind from all this. And in her heart, she has forgiven her father, who she feels must have been in a very dark place to do what he did. She has no room and no time for hate. She's looking to get a job and move on. And the only thing she hates is that she is still referred to as an acid attack victim. And I quote her here, "I am not a victim. I am as normal as anybody else. I have embraced my scars, and I'm really excited for the rest of my life to unfold. I have ambition, I have dreams, and I have life goals." Anmol, your indomitable spirit is an inspiration to us all, and we're so proud to have you here. A short film on Anmol. Anmol, may I request you to please come on stage to receive your award? Ladies and gentlemen, Anmol Rodriguez, FLO awardee for Women Shaping the Future. Anmol, a few words. A few words. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you, Flo, for having me here. And everybody has given me standing ovation. I'm so overwhelmed. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. And now we will move on to our final award winner, Kalpana Saroj, another very, very special lady. She was born in a Dalit family. She was married off at the age of 12 to a 22-year-old. She was treated cruelly, beaten by her in-laws. Her father could not recognize her when he went to see her 6 months later. He took her home, but our society, by its very culture, puts a lot of pressure on single women, and they blame the girl for leaving home. And she was almost driven to suicide. Deciding to live, she started working as a tailor and saw her first 100-rupee note. She rented a room in Kalyan in Mumbai, and she moved her family there. She was, however, unable to save her sister's life, and that made her realize that she needed to make more money to survive. She took a loan and started a furniture business. It did well. But she saw the struggle of so many people around her that she started an NGO to help them get loans. And many times she gave money from her own pocket. Needless to say, word spread of her good deeds, and she built a fine reputation. That is when the workers of Kamani Tubes asked her to help save their company. It was tied up in 140 litigation cases with a debt of 116 crores. Against all advice and being called quite mad, she chose to help the 500 families who were starving. She appealed to the finance minister, she got the debt reduced, she gathered a team, she moved factories, and in 2006, Kalpana Saroj became the chairperson. The turnover today is in multi-million dollars. She has several accolades under her belt, and she has also been conferred the Padam Shri. Before I call her on stage, a short film on Kalpana Saroj, please. It's a pleasure to present the FLO Women Shaping Award to Padma Shri Kalpana Saroj. Ladies and gentlemen, FLO awardee for Women Shaping the Future, Kalpana Saroj. Kalpana, a few words from you. And after that, may I request all awardees to come on stage for a photograph.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you very much. जो मुझे ये अवार्ड मिला, मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है. जैसे कि मेरे बारे में बहुत सारे लोगों को मालूम ही है, गूगल ने बहुत सारे लोगों को बता चुके हैं, इन्होंने भी बताया है. एक्चुअली मैं जिस दलित समाज से आई हुई थी, मैं कुछ भी नहीं थी, ज़ीरो भी नहीं थी, लेकिन आज जहाँ पे मैं पहुँची हूँ, मेरा संघर्ष, मेरी मेहनत, कड़ी मेहनत, सच्ची लगन, जिससे मैं आज इस मुकाम पे पहुँची हूँ. और अब जो अवार्ड मिलते हैं मुझे हर दिन कल भी मुझे एक अवार्ड मिला, आज भी अभी एक शाम को एक अवार्ड है, अभी भी अवार्ड मिला. तो ये जो मेरे काम की शायद बहुत बड़ी पावती है. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
I think the awards will keep rolling in for a while yet. Our chief guest needs no introduction. Oh yes, please photograph with all the awardees, please. Ladies, please come up with your trophy so we can have a photograph for our archives. Anmol, stand in front of, she's tiny, so. Thank you so much. Our chief guest, Shri Kumar Mangalam Birla ji, needs no introduction. He is the chairman of the Aditya Birla Group, one of the largest conglomerates in India. An educationist, Mr. Birla is the chancellor of Birla Institute of Technology and Science. He is chairman of IIT Delhi, IIM Ahmedabad, and chairman of Rhodes India Scholarship Committee for Oxford University. He serves on London Business School's Asia Pacific Advisory Board and is an honorary fellow of the London Business School. May I request our chief guest to deliver a keynote address? In fact, I think we have a little film which we'd like to show first.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to be here. When I think back, I think I have attended 3 FICCI FLO events. The first was to hear my mother, the second was to hear my wife, and the third, more recently, was to hear my daughter. But I have a very distinct memory that I didn't see any men on the stage at all. So I'm more than just a pleasure, I'm privileged to be here. And Pinky, thank you for this very singular honor. I've been asked to speak on the topic of gender equality, and whilst I promise I'll be brief, I would want to start by showing a short clip because I believe it captures the essence of my own core belief on the subject. Can we have the AV?
What's your name?
Gianna, Kian, Zaida, Zarna, Tia, Alhan, Samaira, Mahir, Siddharth, Sasha, Miss Aisha, Anya, Ayan, Ridham.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a police, an astronautical engineer, I'll be a train driver. I want to be a McDonald's seller, but rock star, a ballerina, a gymnast, diamond jewelry seller, a doctor, an artist, a gymnast, cricketer. I want to be a teacher.
What's the difference between boys and girls?
Between boys and girls, I don't know. I think there's no difference between boys and girls. Boys usually eat much quicker than girls. Boys have short hair, girls have long hair. Boys have short hair and girls have long hair. Boys can do everything that girls can. Because girls can do whatever boys can. Boys and girls are equal. Because boys can do what girls can do also, and girls can also do what boys can do.
100% sure?
I'm sure. Yes, because they're the same. We're all human beings.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Essentially, what this AV says is that a 4-year-old doesn't see the world, work, or ambition through the lens of gender. They don't want to become a female pilot or a male chef. These binaries really don't exist in their minds, and I think they shouldn't exist in our minds as well. This 90-second video troubles me, and at the same time, it gives me hope. It troubles me because I believe that somewhere as a society, we probably let down our women. And yet it fills me hope that tomorrow will be much better. I have been blessed to have 6 women who have been the pillars of my life. My wife, my mother, my grandmother, my sister, and my 2 daughters. They've given me birth, they've nurtured me, nourished me, they've been an anchor, and they've given me endless joy and love. Another woman of substance who has been an inspiration for me, who I look up to, and to whom I've often turned for advice is my aunt, Shobna. She has now, over a very long career, as we know, proven that women can indeed be first amongst equals. She is, as we all know, an icon in the male-dominated media sector, and she has done herself and our family very proud. I have to confess that as a teenager, I was a male chauvinist, perhaps unwittingly so. It is only when our daughters started to grow up that the female-male stereotypes began to stare me in the face. From being just a point of conversation, it became a real issue, one that comes in the way of our own beliefs, convictions, and ambitions about and for our daughters, what they could do and what they could become as individuals as well as professionally. The transformation has been rather dramatic, though my wife, Nija, would have you believe that I have a very long way to go still. Having said that, I want to retreat hastily to a safe haven, which is women in the workplace. Well, why is it relevant? It's relevant because I do believe that the corporate world is one of the largest platforms, not just in India, but globally, for social change and for social good. The role of corporates in society today is much more significant than it was 10 years ago, and I believe will be much more so in the coming decade. This role will increasingly stretch beyond creating wealth to building social equity. And therefore, the presence of women on this important platform is not just relevant, but to my mind, it's critical. I want to quote the example of a woman corporate leader whose story I often call out, that is Indira Nui. Indira tells me that in her student days, she worked from midnight to 5 a.m. as a receptionist to pay her fees for Yale, where she was doing her MBA. She then rose through the ranks in a male-dominated bastion to become the first Indian woman CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Indira made it to the top of one of the world's most admired companies, PepsiCo, on the sheer dint of her hard work and determination. And it's very interesting that the day she became president of PepsiCo, she was asked to go get milk from the market by her mother, who said, "Leave that crown in the garage." Ladies, if you are faced with such a situation, make sure it's your husband who goes to fetch the milk. Closer home and in my workplace, I chanced upon the script of a speech that I had given to our women folk sometime in 2008. They were a very small population then in ABG, and an extract of that reads like this. Ladies, please voice your opinions. Don't be apologetic about having a point of view that others in the organization may not agree with. Don't be afraid to take risks. Thankfully, things have changed since then. Today, there are 23,000 women ABGites across the globe. They make up to 18% of our total workforce of 130,000, 14% of our total management cadre of 35,000, but only a very disappointing 5% of our top leadership. The women at ABG today are ambitious, they're opinionated, and most importantly, they are incredibly competent. They are a united fraternity, a force to reckon with in the ABG ecosystem. However, what is disturbing is that female participation in the workforce in India is actually going down. This despite the fact that gender diversity is as much a business imperative today as it is a social imperative. Many studies have shown that firms that are more diverse have better outcomes financially. So what can companies do? We need to move beyond the so-called gender diversity roles to create for women new frontier roles. Who says that women can only make good HR leaders and good marketing leaders? These are stereotypes that now need to be displaced. One of the unit heads in our aluminum manufacturing unit is a woman, an exceptional performer. Not to forget the CFO of our financial services business, Aditya Birla Capital, who is a woman, the CEO of Pantaloons, who is also a woman, and I will be the first to admit that we still have a very long way to go. Other than flexible working hours, that too during personal transitional times, and much more attention to personal safety and security, we make no exceptions for our women employees. They don't ask for concessions, and I personally don't believe that they need any. So that is about what companies need to do. And second, it is time to address the elephant in the room, which is the men. Not many here in the audience. I believe that men need to step it up. It's time to redefine the role of men in the domain of gender diversity. We need to become not just supporters of diversity, but actual champions of diversity. In it, I believe, lies our own success. Take the case of Alibaba. A third of the founders were women, 49% of the employees are women, and Jack Ma has said time and time again that women are the company's secret sauce. He believes that men will be challenged by machines, but women, because of their attention to experience and detail, will outperform machines. Now, that's a champion of diversity, and we need many more like that. Finally, I would point to a McKinsey research that suggests that we could add $12 trillion to the global GDP by 2025 if we bridge the gender gap. But as my speech suggests, it's not just about a $12 trillion opportunity, it's about giving women a new deal, a better deal. Measures to improve diversity take time to show results. However, I think we need to be impatient for change, impatient for outcomes. I believe last month NASA had planned an all-women spacewalk. They had to cancel it on account of a shortage of space suits for women. Let us hope that the next time around that will not be the case, because I believe it's time for a giant leap for womanhood. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I think we all agree here that stereotypes need to be broken, and there is a very long way to go. But that film, Mr. Birla, was extremely heartwarming, and we agree that men need to step it up. We now move on to the second part of our power-packed annual session, and what a lineup we have for you. Could we get all our panelists up? Sonam Kapoor, Zoya Akhtar, Sania Mirza, Shona Chauhan, Karuna Nandi, and Shaili, please, as well. All right, ladies, let's have the photograph. Somnam, are you going to stand on the end? No, you're staying up. I will introduce you. Yeah. Dr. Yomina. Yomna. Okay. डाल दो नो नो दे दीजिए वहाँ पे ये भी दे दीजिए ये दो इधर पड़े हुए हैं
Yes, absolutely. Pinky's stuck to her word.
So before we move on to the second part of our power-packed annual session, I would like to acknowledge and welcome Dr. Yumna. We have an Egyptian delegation here with us today. Dr. Yumna is the president of the Business Women of Egypt Association and CEO of the International Company for Food Processing. Welcome to our annual session. One more chair. Just make it brief, yeah, because we don't normally do it.
But what time would that be?
About शॉल दोगे उसी टाइम आप बोल लेना जो बोलना है
जब मैं इनको शॉल दूंगी
नहीं उस टाइम में
नहीं
All right, let's settle down, everyone. We're moving on to the second part of our session. And we really have a power-packed lineup of panelists for you. And before we start, I'm going to request that Pinky come on stage and felicitate our panelists. Please, quickly. Sonam Kapoor. Felicitate our panelist, Pinky. Sonam Kapoor, actress, known for her outspoken personality, and as she just said, she has no bad angle at all. She's beautiful. She's credited as one of Bollywood's most fashionable celebrities and recipient of several awards, including Filmfare and a National Film Award. Sonam Kapoor. Zoya Akhtar. Zoya, may I request you to please come up? Film director, screenwriter, creating leading original content in the streaming age and reshaping entertainment. Okay. Can I request the photographers to sort of let the ladies at the back see what's going on as well? Please. Sania Mirza. India's #1 tennis player, former world's #1 in the doubles discipline, winner of 6 Grand Slams. Shauna Chauhan. Shauna Chauhan, adding fizz and froth into Pale Agro and managing to keep Fruity thriving after more than 3 decades and taking Pale Agro close to a 4,200 crore company. Now I can't do anything, yeah. Karuna Nandi, lawyer, thought leader, and cited as one of India's fastest rising women leaders, knows when to stand up, and has an enviable following of over 100,000 people on Twitter. Shaili Chopra. Shaili, our charming moderator for this session, is a business journalist, author, and entrepreneur, also the founder of She the People TV, which is a platform to empower women with stories of role models and inspire them with changing conversations on women and what matters to them. You want to say something? Or you just want to give her? I can just say quickly.
I'd just like to thank Flo and Pinky and the whole team. I think Pinky's been a great president, as all of you know, and she's handing over today. Janvi has partnered you through this year and had a great year together. I'd like to give Pinky a small thank you and a token of appreciation.
Yes.
Thank you, please.
All right, Shaili, over to you.
Thanks very much, Vinita. And good afternoon, everyone. It's been really fascinating to listen to the two conversations we had just before this. But I just wanted to put some facts and figures in place, because we always talk about women issues, and sometimes we don't stand up for the statistics and numbers. So I thought maybe we'll start with that. So pardon my business journalist hangover on that front. You know that we are half the population in India, and we seldom think about the fact that we raise the other half. We're 9% of the global population, and we think of ourselves as an Indian statistic when we're actually a global force. The more we think about ourselves as statistics that can potentially transform not just ourselves as a collective, but have a role to play on global issues, Indian issues that have now become a part of the global state of affairs, I think that's when we'll realize what kind of a superpower each one of us, everyday women, sit on. So with that, I'm actually going to begin this conversation with this fantastic panel that has been introduced by Vinita very kindly. I'll start with Sania Mirza, somebody who has risen and brought India so much recognition in a space we thought we would never grow into. Thank you so much for being the sportswoman of the century so far as Indian women go.
Thank you.
Really, Sania, would like to know your thoughts about how much has changed, because the last time we interviewed you during your book, you talked about being raised at a time where even wearing skirts to practice was a challenge. As a sportswoman, do you think we've really come a long way?
First of all, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I think that we have come a long way, but I still think that we have a long way to go. I'm talking about, I'm 32. I started playing tennis when I was 6 years old. So, yeah, I have no qualms about my age, so that's why it's fine. But when I started playing tennis, to be very honest, Pinky Akka, like I call her, she will tell you as well, at a time when even today, cricket is something that everybody goes to. And girls are unheard of wanting to dream of playing a sport or becoming professional especially. A city of Hyderabad, which came, today it's a big city, but 25 years ago it wasn't the biggest. And we used to play on courts made out of cow dung, believe it or not. And we literally played on crap, So it was like, and people used to come and tell us, so you really think that she's going to become Martina Hingis one day? Do you really think that she's going to play Wimbledon? They're like, she's going to become dark. They had like silly things like that, which all girls go through. She's going to become dark. Who's going to marry her? How is she? She's going to become a tomboy, whatever that means. So, I think it was something that my parents really had to stand forward and say that we don't care, and they had to kind of fight the norms and the culture or whatever a girl is supposed to do or not supposed to do. So yes, in terms of that, today we can name at least 10 superstars who are women sports people. We can name Saina Nehwal, Sindhu, Mary Kom, Deepa Karmakar, Sakshi Malik, and I think even 10 years ago we couldn't do that. So in terms of that, we've come a long way, and I feel very proud to be of, you know, hopefully, I mean, even if I've made a change even to one girl's life, I feel very proud that I've been able to do that.
Indeed, and you truly have, not just one, but many. But what you said, you know, when you started out, that we have a long way to go. Why do you say that right now?
Because I think the awards that we saw today, the stories that we heard, don't we have a long way to go in everything? I think at the end of the day, and I get flack for saying this all the time, but I say it anyway because honestly, like, I get a flack for a lot of things. But, you know, I think as much as we talk about equality and women empowerment, and it's, I think, but we still live in a man's world to a large extent, you know, where we still have to, in tennis, we still have to explain why we should get equal prize money as men do. And that doesn't just happen in India or in the subcontinent, it happens throughout the world, you know. So that's why I say that we have a long way to go, because I want to reach a day where we don't have to explain, like, why is it not very natural that we should get equally paid as much as the men do? For example, that's just one of the issues, you know. Yeah. So just the same way, I think sport is not a go-to option for every girl, you know. When somebody does that, or when a girl plays sport, the parents are like, oh wow, it's so commendable that you guys did this and, you know, you stood with her. But why should it be like that, right? When a boy wants to play cricket, it's a very normal thing. When he wants to play football, when he wants to become an actor, whatever it is, you know, and especially when you don't come from that family or family background. So,
indeed. A huge round of applause for what she said. I truly think that resonates for most of us. If we don't start now, really, where will we head with it? Zoya Akhtar, to start with you on the fact that you've truly changed the way we look at content by turning it on its head. Just before we sat down, you know, discussions about what you're doing with Made in Heaven and a large number of movies that have been groundbreaking, different, and also bring out perhaps different communities within our own society and tell their stories. Why do you think you wanted to experiment so much, coming from an industry which was fed on the same for a most part of its existence?
I don't see anything I do as an experiment, because I'm also privy to experimental cinema and I'm very far from it. I think I'm very much in the mainstream. I want to tell stories that I want to watch, actually. I'm an audience. I make movies because I absolutely love movies. And I want to tell stories that I want to hear. I want to make movies that I want to see. And I have to find a balance and find a way to make that so that it's palatable and I can communicate with the people I need to communicate. Sometimes those themes are not popular. Those themes are not things we speak about. Those themes are not things people are privy to, and most of my work kind of falls into the bracket maybe of subcultures. But that's what interests me, and the trick is to be able to take that and to marry it into a language, into a syntax, into a form of communication, and put it out there so that people can accept it. You know, and things that you have to do with that is cast actors. You know, actors like her are really willing to do stuff that's not what you're supposed to do, you know. And you cast actors in a particular way, you create, the language is a particular way, music is used. So you do that, but you tell what you need to tell. You tell the story that hasn't been heard.
And when you push boundaries, do you get a little bit of setback, or do you don't give them a earshot at all?
No, I mean, it's quite simple, you know, like I know my films will cap this much, and for someone like me, they're doing quite well, but they are not, like my last film, Gully Boy, did very well, but it's not a blockbuster, you know, it didn't do the numbers as Simba did, and I mean, that's how it is. I mean, given a choice, I will still do Gully Boy because that's the story I want to tell. So you know who your market is, you know who you're catering to, and that is expanding with each film. And that is very heartening. So you can't, you know that you're pushing it little by little, and you have to be patient, and you have to keep doing what you like to do.
Keep doing what you like to do. Absolutely. Well said there. Sonam, coming to you, you've also had, you've made choices that have been not just impressive, but truly hardcore roles in many ways, with women at the forefront of it, whether it's Neerja or Ek Ladki Ko Dekha. What drove those choices for you as an actor? Honestly, I think I consider women intelligent. So, and I consider women as intelligent as any man and as capable as any man. So when there weren't roles that were being offered to me, which I felt were respectful of who I was as a person, forget anything else, I decided that I had to sit down and create it and speak to directors and other producers and create those opportunities for myself, because those opportunities unfortunately did not exist. So I did that, and that is honestly only because of my upbringing. It's the way I've been brought up. My father is a hardcore feminist. My mother is extremely liberal and extremely, I come from a very liberal background, and my father and my mother have been very supportive of all the choices that I've made. And when I came into the so-called real world, I realized that it was not utopia, it was not my home, and I wasn't treated like an equal. I was treated as a woman. And the strength that my family and my upbringing and my education gave me helped me make those choices. And I think a lot of, like you said now, we bring up 50% of the population of the world, of India or of the world. I think women, it's all up to it's all up to the parents and the family to bring up women and even men and their young boys and girls to be a certain way, to think a certain way, and it's our responsibility for the future generation, because change is there, but it is only going to be more, I think change will actually even be more impactful in the next generation, because we, like Sania's had a child, we all have the future generation, Zoya through her films. I think we all have responsibility to see our teachings and our learnings and the mistakes that we've made. Because I made a few mistakes even when I joined the industry, where I was conforming to what I thought would make me successful so that I could make my choices. And I realized that as soon as I conform, I'll be a failure. So I think it's better to just not conform and make the hard choices, especially when you have a safety net as a family. I think when you come from a family that is privileged, I think it's more important to make the harder choices, because at the end of the day, it's all about, it's more, we have more of a at least I feel I have more of a responsibility to make a hard choice, to make the hard choices, because I have a safety net of my mom and dad and now my in-laws, where they're like, it's okay, you can do whatever you want, as I don't have to put food on my table or anything. So it's easier for me to make the hard choices. So I don't give myself that much credit, but I think I have more of a responsibility to make a hard choice, or what people think is a hard choice.
Yeah, definitely. Well said there. Shauna, bringing you into this conversation as you have a mic there. Zoya, just thank you. Great. As a businesswoman who's transformed the entire Parley empire into this youthful, energetic new brand, especially being a business that has been sort of steeped in tradition and it's over decades and decades of work. How do you think, as three dynamic women now heading it, brought in a completely different energy to the business and where you've taken it today?
So I come from a family where I have two sisters. The only man in our family was my father. So it was a woman-dominated home all the time. Now at work, we're three sisters. We're running the business. I look after a certain part of the business, the operations part of the business. My sister looks after the brand and strategy. And my third sister, she looks after the CSR part of it. I think ever since the three of us have started working together, there is a certain thing about women who work together, I feel, than two men working together. I think...
What's that according to you?
I find that with women working together, they work more as a team. There's less competitiveness than two males working together. We're more open to listening to one another. I not only see that amongst me and my sisters, but I see that within the organization itself, that when you have women as leaders, women tend to listen more and then give their opinion than men. I find that a lot. So with all these, not with all these, but with the two girls or with me on its own, I follow a very open communication system within the organization. Something that I don't think I've seen before. And I'm much more approachable to people. I find that people are more, they feel more comfortable to approach me today than, let's say, they would go to another man.
Yeah, I really wish more people would talk about experiences like yours, though I'm not sure that's been the case for most, but we'll get to that. I'll bring Karuna here. You know, as Coco Chanel said, a woman should be who and what she wants to be. But in many ways, when one talks about the construct of how many women really are part of decision-making, get to the top, get a voice where what they say will then improve the lives of the rest of them, aside of course, individual stories, or let's say a founder or a CEO or a sportswoman or an actor. But if you look at the system, the institutional system that needs to change the idea of how we treat our women beyond slogans, do you think we are really getting there?
A little bit. But I think the short answer really is no, because there's, so somebody actually extrapolated from where we are today to where we need to be for complete equality, right? And at the rate we're going, it would take 400 years. 400 years in India. So while there is, I think, definitely room for celebration, you know, I saw Ek Ladki Ko Dekha a few days ago. There's your character, there's your wonderful character in Gully Boy. You know, Shona, your leadership, Shelly, your company, Saina, of course, Sania, I beg your pardon. Your, you know, your path-breaking role in exemplifying sort of heroism in sport. And also, so many of you, I can see Shefali Munjal in the audience, my friend Shefali. I can see, you know, Vinita. There's so many people here. There's so much power in this room, right? And I think that it's very important today to be unmediated in how we function in the world and in our personal lives, of course, but very much in the world and in our workplaces, since so many of us are sort of leaders in our own fields, right? To be unmediated by patriarchy, you know? And I think there's a lot of pandering that we all do, a little bit, in our lives, that we don't need to. And to sort of clear that in our heads, I think, is very important, because what happens? I think a lot of power then gets unleashed. You know? And power, not just to exemplify, like the women here are and so many of you are, to exemplify sort of leadership and to exemplify the kind of women that a lot of kids, you know, a lot of little girls then would want to be, like whether it's our, you know, children or our nieces, or whether it's the women who work with us. But also very significantly, you know, you're talking about structures, right? To change the structures. A case that I'm arguing at the moment, so one of the cases that I'm arguing is making rape within marriage illegal, you know, making rape within marriage criminal. Because currently it's not criminal to rape your wife. Sorry to kill the clap. So, you know, you would think that stuff like this is obvious and low-hanging fruit, and something that should have been done a long time ago. But when we were working on the anti-rape laws in 2013, this came up, you know? And another issue came up, which was whether stalking should be bailable or non-bailable. Don't worry, I'm not going to lapse into legal jargon without explaining it. Now, there's an important reason why I'm getting into this, right? Like this bailable, non-bailable thing. At the moment, if there is a man who is stalking a woman and saying that, look, I'm going to throw acid on your face, right? Then in Delhi and in a number of other states, that man can be arrested, but he can't be kept in jail because the magistrate's hands are tied. Why is this? Because in 2013, when the law was tabled in Parliament, a politician stood up and he said that, हम तो लड़कियों का पीछा करते ही थे, you know, college में करते थे, romance था. And so in order to let the rest of the bill, let that go. So what does that mean? So, you know, when we talk about women's reservation in Parliament, when we talk about women being present at the table, right? Zoya was talking about telling the stories that you want to see, you know? So many of us, regardless of power, regardless of, you know, so-called beauty, regardless of privilege, have been stalked, you know? And so I think it's all intertwined. And when we talk about structural change, when we talk about equality, it's all intertwined. And so having 50% of women, at the very least, I would say, in Parliament, you know, is a starting step.
Yeah, that's true. And what you said was that it sort of sums up the fact that everything that we all are talking about, eventually we want decisions to be made, systems to move, people to start going beyond slogans. That's a well-said point. Now, Zoya, I'm going to take from where Karuna left this, really about being able to have freedom of speech, freedom to the rights that we have as citizens, to be able to make those choices, and not just choices, but also have the impact. And one of the ways that most people look up to the film industry is because they can have the mass impact. Do you think the film industry is trying to make that change where they could potentially spin a different way of thinking about gender equality?
Firstly, we have to understand something about the film industry, that it is part of this society. So it's not another planet. It is coming from the same patriarchal society that we all belong to and are discussing. Within that, I mean, when you are there and you are a creator and you are whatever, the point is it's a business. Like any other business there is. It's a very expensive medium. So when you are putting something out there, producers putting money in, he wants an ROI. He wants a return on his investment. So you at the start only are dealing with a majority of people that want to cater to popular sensibility. Popular sensibility being patriarchy. You start there. Now within that, you have a certain amount of artists that will push the envelope, that do see it in a particular way. There are a lot of men also that know how to project women and write stories about women. It's not just women that have this strong female gaze. There are a lot of men that are doing very good work. But you have to understand that it is, yes, it is popular culture, the only one that's functioning. And it's out there, and it is, but to me, it's like, you know, everybody saying that it is influential, yes, on a level, but it's also reflective. It's also reflecting what there is. It's also, the people are reflecting what society is, the people making the films, you know, and I think the responsibility beyond a point has to also go to the audience. You know, I have been on so many panels where people have been like, why are there item songs? I've never had an item song in my film, but I have to answer this because they're just asking you. And you're like, you saw this promo, you went and bought a ticket. You have no right to question me or anybody. You buy that ticket. So you have to, you want more women on screen, you pay for it. It's a business. So we can't just say, why is the film industry...
You don't think the first step would be needed to come from those who would find themselves in the influential position?
But they are doing it. I mean, the ones, see, it's a personal choice. When you're a filmmaker or an actor, you are not signing up to that responsibility. That is a personal, moral responsibility you can choose to take or not take. I believe that. I don't think, like, as a filmmaker, you can get up and say that my job, it's not your job. I haven't been elected, right, to protect this. I'm here to entertain. So I make the films I make because I feel responsible. But I can't hold that against anyone else. Okay. You know, I can't.
Sure. Sonam, you want to add to that?
That's exactly what I was saying. I was like, because I have the safety net.
Exactly.
It's easy for me to make, I don't know if it's easy, but it's easier for me to make those harder, so-called harder choices. Because at the end of the day, when Ek Ladki Ko Dekha came out, which was a lesbian love story, I only got maybe 800 screens. We only got maybe that much budget to promote it. So beyond a certain point, besides having my father and I do the film, besides waiving the fee, besides asking Vinod Chopra and Raju Hirani to give their name, there is only that much that I could do, besides calling all my friends and asking them to support me. There's only that much that we can do. That's what Zoya is saying, and I think I completely concur with her. Because eventually, you know, art is just a reflection of society. Once in a while, there is something that comes across that can change the way people think. You know, I've had one such film called Nija, and again, it was a film where Sonam Kapoor was in one outfit through the whole film, you know, and you know, I was playing an air hostess with no makeup, and eventually everybody knew that I was going to die in the end, or Nija was going to die in the end. But the way society or the audience look at it is Sonam Kapoor is dying in the end. She's not landing up with one of the heroes. But it changed, you know. I think there was some change, you know, with Zoya's first film to Gully Boy. There has been a change. So at the end of the day, there are people who are trying, but at the same time, it is, you know, a lot of people hold up a gun to a celebrity or a person in the film industry and saying that, why aren't you doing this? Or why isn't this happening? You know, it's also a livelihood at the end of the day. So yeah, people like me can make those choices. I feel it's easier for me to make a choice because I don't have to put food on my table, or I don't have to take care of a family. I'm completely taken care of, and I do take care of myself, but I don't have that responsibility. You know, Zoya is also living at home or whatever.
You know, at the end of the day, if you look at our cinema, it's escapist. All our films are good. Good triumphs over evil. We have the maximum love stories: caste, creed, class, money, age, no barrier, religion. People end up together at the end. We see these films. That is not changing anything. So let's just realize that the impact of films is that much only. At the end of the day, you have to figure the law out, and you have to figure the home situation. Like, I think nothing can change till you do not allow men to rape their wives. Till you don't stop that, nothing is changing.
It has to be a lot with education. Like you said, we need 50% of women in parliament, but I have seen so many women in power who are the most sexist that I've ever seen, who say things like, agar wo ye kapde pehenegi, to usko iske sath yehi hoega. It's just a mindset that needs to change. It's how we bring up our children. It's how we speak. Yeah, there are some people who will take that responsibility up and want to take that responsibility up to have a voice. It's upbringing. I think whoever I am, whatever I am, is because of my upbringing and maybe my personal nature. But at the end of the day, yes, you'll have all of us in a panel. We'll all say things, but it is not, the baton is not in the hands of the film industry, unfortunately, or anyone else.
But you know, we must have those conversations for sure.
To chime in here a little bit, right? I made the connection between, say, marital rape and parliament. But there is also a connection between films and law, you know? And I know it's, you want to be telling good stories, right? And I know that you want to be...
what connection are you pointing at?
I'm getting to it. But you know, I know you want to be telling good stories, and I know you want to be telling good stories to lots of people and to be making money. And of course, all of that is true. But at the same time, I think that, I don't know how many people watch Lipstick Under My Burqa, right? However, there was this scene where the Konkona character is being raped by her husband. And the people who did see it were so startled and somewhere shocked, even if they themselves had been through rape in the context of marriage, right? To see themselves on screen and to see that experience. And, you know, you had men watching it and just saying that, wow, you know, the men who don't do this presumably, And, does that happen? And there's a visceral way in which you communicate things that does change society, right? And the thing is that...
And that is happening.
That is
Please
that is
understand.
happening,
But you
yeah.
also have to understand Lipstick Under My Burqa was an independent film with that smaller budget.
Yeah.
Now, you can't make that with the budget of Padmavat. They won't give you the money.
I think that's
you
definitely
can
a
do
point
as
that-
much as you can do, and it is happening.
Sure.
It is
But
happening.
Zoya, with Gully Boy.
Let's not make this
You know,
about
to
the
be
films.
able
I want to
to-
move to the next theme on this panel, because there is something that I want to bring out of each one of you as personal stories. You'll have to take that conversation off. I want to just get to personal stories, because also this is who you are, and these personal stories make you who you are. I want to actually start with Sanya there and talk to you about motherhood. Your child is 5.5 months, and besides everyone here going gaga about how you managed to do that with that sort of stunning figure right now, but more importantly, how has motherhood changed you as a person? It's one of the toughest jobs in the world.
Yes and no. I think the self-realization, actually, just before this panel started, we were sitting here and, sorry, but we were talking about our baby's constipation problems. Like, that's how, so like, that's how it's changed you as a person, because constipation and poop and these things are actually not that big a deal. Like, you just are like, okay, fine, give him some peas or whatever, like. So, but the thing is that I think motherhood has made me realize, more than change me, it's made me realize that I have a selfless love in me, which I didn't know that I had. And I'll say this proudly, that as sports people, we tend to be a little bit selfish. Every morning of our lives, we wake up and we want to win. Like, which other profession tells you, wake up every morning, I want to win, I want to beat this person, I want to win. So it's all about us. It's about our food, our nutrition, our rest, our practice, whatever. Everything is to do with us. And then suddenly you have a baby, and everything's about the baby. And the amazing part about that is that it's not an effort for it to be about the baby. It just is about the baby, and it doesn't matter. So right now I have to take a flight back, and it doesn't matter if I haven't slept because my baby's back home, so I need to go. So everything sort of revolves around that. And I think that's what motherhood has made me realize. So it made me probably evolve as a person, and I think it's probably made me a better person, because I think selfless love is a better quality than selfish love, I guess.
Well, I think a lot of mothers would resonate with that. Shona? Now, I'm really sort of, I read this with a great amount of interest, and I think it would be really nice if you could share your experience going through surrogacy as you got your son, who's 5 years old, and I believe is in one of these rooms around us. What was that experience like? You are a really proud and happy mom. How hard was it to go through it? And especially for people, many of us have a completely different concept about what surrogacy is aside of its definition. Maybe you could bring us up to speed with it.
So my husband and I, my ex-husband and I were trying for a child for a very long time. And that process in itself was so frustrating, because it's so difficult when you get that call, in the afternoon where you see, oh God, the call's come, that means it's negative, And it was, I think that itself was so depressing. And we tried, and then we wanted a child. I wanted a child, he wanted a child, but we didn't give up. And with surrogacy, we had another option. And I think it was time to take that decision that, okay, if it's not going to happen this way, then let's try this, because we want a family. We want a child. And we took on that process, and one of the things that actually a lot of people asked me is that, is the child going to feel like you're the child's mom? And I just want to mention that just because there's somebody else carrying it, and it's your genes, it does not mean that the child is going to have zero connection with you. I mean, this is something that we really need to remember, because this is one of the questions that I get all the time. And because of that, people fear. my child was born, and the first day itself, it didn't matter whether I went through the labor. It didn't matter whether I carried it for those 9 months. But when the child was born, it was like it was my child, you know, and we were so happy. So surrogacy is an option, and we must not feel afraid to explore that option when you know that you've already tried for so long.
And one thing that you said when we were talking earlier was that, you know, that you've learned how to make sure that you're with the kid all the time when he needs you, but not necessarily, let's say, packing his lunchbox or doing things that you think somebody else could. I love the way you said, I want to outsource things that doesn't sort of give me time with my kid.
Yeah, and see, that's another thing. You want to, when your first child is everything. For me, my son is everything. The toughest thing for me is to say no to him. So balancing between work and also getting to spend enough time with him, I try to outsource a lot of activities which I know, it doesn't mean that I don't love him because I'm not doing it, but I'm making sure that what I do with him is that I'm spending qualitative time when we have that time together. He's been coming with me to work since the day the doctor says, okay, now you can take him out of the house. You know, we had to keep him home for 3 months. And then after that, he started coming to work with me. And he kind of gelled into my routine, which made it very convenient. And I think that's also a very important lesson. And that's how you balance between personal and, you know, work. Because he grew up to my lifestyle, to my routine. Today he comes with me to when I go to my manufacturing locations, you know. And he spends time with me at the factory. Not necessarily, it's not something that he's not contributing, he's not doing anything, but he's just observing. And I think it's a learning experience. And
it made your life easier because you could get back to work as well.
Right.
So I think that's interesting that you said that because, you know, a lot of moms, I think, have that question mark most of the time. Now, Sonam, I want to ask you, you've recently got married, much talked about. I think there's a lot of curiosity among people to know, how do you keep that marriage equal when you're the Bollywood star in it? Really curious to know how does that work, because people are obviously, like anybody who's in awe of the film stars, are wanting to know everything about what's happening in their lives. So that would be an insight for everyone here.
So I have to tell you something about my husband. The first time, you know, we met, and I realized I was maybe half an inch or an inch taller than him. He said, "Whoa, I feel like Diddy." So I was like, "What?" So he's like, "I love it when you wear heels. I think it's so amazing." I think I chose very right. Because we're equal partners, and he is so proud of everything that I do. He is my cheerleader. He works his schedule around mine. And again, I want to give that credit to my parents, because when I see their relationship, I think Zoya has been privy to it as well. I think they have a beautiful, equal relationship with their partners, and I have learned from that, and I've seen from that. And I think I chose right because of that, where I mean, I'm the last person to give a man credit, but I think I have to give my husband credit in this. I think he deserves all the credit for being so incredibly, he's added Sonam to his middle name. So that, yes, so he's Anand Sonam Ahuja. And he believes that we are equal partners. Every decision we make, it has to be done equally, and a woman should not be the only one who compromises. And I think that has a lot to do with his upbringing as well. His grandmother started the company that their father and all of them are part of, and I think it comes from that. I think it's just a very matriarchal, not even a matriarchal, I think it's just a way, there's a lot of equality in everything that has been done.
Would you say that you're not quite the star you are on stage when you're in your private spaces?
I'm always a star.
I'm always a star.
Okay. And he's given me confidence for me to be like, yeah, I'm okay being myself. You know, I'm not apologetic about saying, I don't have a bad angle, I'm amazing, I'm fabulous. And I think every girl should look up in the morning and say, I'm fabulous. I'm the best thing that's happened to me.
Zoya Akhtar, free will or destiny? How does Zoya approach her life?
I mean, I totally follow free will, but if you don't, you know, there's something magical about also destiny. There's something like, there is a sense of like, if it's meant to be, it'll be. Like I honestly, to tell you the truth, I just do whatever's convenient in that moment psychologically. So sometimes there is something that will come up and I'm like, if it's meant to come to me, it'll come to me. If this story is the rights will come to me, they'll come to me. You know, I leave it at that. But, and there are certain things I know that I just have to go after, you know. So I do whatever suits me psychologically in that moment.
Sanya, do you think achieving and achievements are overrated, or do you think that they need to be a very important part of one's lives? How would you say your relationship with ambition has been?
I'm a very ambitious person, but I think that everybody's ambition and achievement or sense of achievement is different. I think you can't really compare my achievement to Sonam's or to Karuna's or to Zoya's. I think everybody's achievement is different of what they believe it is. And it doesn't mean that you have to be the best in the world to be an achiever. I think you have to be the best that you can be to be an achiever. So whatever, you know, you think is the best, and so whenever I go on the court, I'm obviously not the best tennis player ever to walk on earth, but am I the best version of myself? Yes. And that's what made me #1 in the world. So I think that, and I think that even if I didn't get to #1 in the world, even if I was 2000, if that was the best version of myself, then that was it, and that was an achievement for me. So as a kid, when I was growing up, like, there was never one day we sat and were like, okay, from today onwards, we're going to become a professional tennis player. When I was 8, you know, I played one match, I remember, where I beat a girl who was 16 years old. And when I went on the court, she called me and she said, let's play box tennis, because I was really little. I was a small kid. And I said, I don't know why she's asking me to come and play this in this small box. And then I ended up winning the match, you know. And I remember her crying. Like, that's the only visual I had in my head. And poor thing, like, right now I feel like poor thing. At that time, I was like, you know, I had a crowd of 100 people and I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing in the world. So I think for me, and my parents were proud of every achievement, whether I was 8 or whether I was, you know, 25 when I became #1. So I think that's a sense of achievement that I have. So everybody has their own sense of achievement.
So, okay, I just have a very quick question as I wrap it up and get Pinky to say the final words. One thing that you're always unapologetic about. You only had 3-4 words, Karuna.
Only one thing.
Yeah. Thanks, Anya.
My voice, it's very important to exercise it today.
That's well said. Yeah, certainly in the times we are today. Okay, I'm just going to go around the panel on this, Shauna. The one thing that you would say you're unapologetic about, or the one thing that you probably stand for all the time?
Just being myself.
Yeah. Zoya?
Yeah, my choices and my opinion. And yeah, I say what I want to say.
Sonam?
I think being a woman in a very patriarchal society and industry, I'm like, dude, I'm a woman, deal with it. I think I'm better than you. I think I'm just not apologetic about being who I am as a woman.
Sanya?
Being a tennis player in a cricket-obsessed country.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Pinky Reddy?
What I'm not apologetic about? What I speak from my heart.
That's one thing I think everyone I've heard from, that Pinky Reddy just speaks from the heart. I think we got a good example of that yesterday with Priyanka and Sonia Gandhi.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Thank you, everyone, for being on this panel.
And I must add that Sonam has really matured. I've known her for many, many years. We know her parents.
My whole life, Pinky, come on.
And the minute I asked her to come here, she said, wait, I need to ask my husband first. So I was so impressed with that.
Oh my God, Pinky, you can't say that in this panel. I said that because he's changed his whole, first of all, I have to say. I have to explain myself on this because I feel I owe it to explanation.
Because I'm complimenting you that you had to ask your husband. I was very happy. My mother would be very happy with that.
My mother was not going to be happy if I said that. But honestly, it was because I had to ask him because we were coming to Delhi after a very long time. And I was supposed to go to the house first with him because I haven't been home. But I got my mother-in-law here with me, who's right here on the front row. Because I hadn't seen them in like a couple of months because I was working. So I was like, is it okay? And he's like, yeah, babe. I'm sorry, he calls me babe, which is fine. That's one thing I can ignore.
But I still want to compliment you that you asked him. So I want to feel happy hearing that.
Thank you, Pinky Auntie.
Well, thank you once again for being with us on this panel. And thanks, Pinky, for organizing this for us.
We have an initiative which...
Yeah. Can I request you all to just keep sitting? Before we go on further, I just want to say, Sonam, your husband can do no wrong. If he's got your name as his middle name, he's the kind of guy we need for closing the gender gap. So kudos to him. Thank you so much, Shaili. And a big round of applause for all these wonderful women, please. Now, I don't know how many of you know what this colorful band is on the backdrop, these 17 colors. Well, it represents the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that the United Nations hopes to achieve by 2030. Zero hunger, zero poverty, gender equality, and safety of women. And as a women's organization, we are always thinking of how to make life better for women and in turn their families. And today, FLO is very proud to present a solution for the safety of women. And I am now going to request Avantika Dalmia, member governing body and the force behind My Circle app, to come up on stage and tell us a little more.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Vinita. I think it's something that resonates with all of us. Crime against women has been a bane of India's development efforts, and I think it's something that touches each of our lives every single day. The FICCI Ladies organization, in collaboration with Airtel, has developed a user-friendly and multilingual women's safety app, which is freely downloadable from Play Store and will be available on the iOS App Store from the 20th of April 2019. Can I please have the logo? With the help of the My Circle app, a woman in distress can send an SMS to a pre-fed number with a link containing her GPS location for help all across India. Conceptualized by an all-women cross-functional team and developed in-house by Airtel X Labs team under the able guidance of Ms. Harmeen Mehta, CIO and Head Cloud and Security Business, Bharti Airtel Limited. I proudly present the name and the logo. The app is called My Circle. It is a group of people I am closest to, the first ones that I will turn towards in my times of need. The logo, it captures the concept of safety of a person through availability, signified by the ring of 5 friends and family, and togetherness with their arms over each other's shoulders. Basically, I look after you, you look after me. And this is a citizens' initiative which we look forward to all your support for. Can I have the next slide on, please? Once you have downloaded the app, either from the Play Store or the iOS, you can fill in your mobile number. An OTP is sent to you with your phone to enable you to verify your identity. The next slide, please. To create your profile, you would request people to upload their photographs here because we can't put this as a mandatory field requirement. But in case you're in trouble, your photograph helps because we cannot explain to the 100 people we are reaching out to how you look. So in case you need help, your photograph out there helps us get help to you as soon as possible. Here you can add the contact details of the 5 family members and friends whom you trust would help you in case you're in trouble. There's an option also to choose the language in which you'd like to send an SMS alert. Apart from Hindi and English, we currently have 11 other regional language alerts available for this feature, We have Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, Marathi, Punjabi, Bangla, Urdu, Assamese, Oriya and Gujarati. Once all the details are filled in by you, you will view this screen which says SOS. It's surrounded by all the contacts that you have pre-fed. And once you press the SOS button, one more thing to say before that. In case you're an Apple phone user, you can use Siri to send a voice command to. And in case of Android, you can trigger the SOS with a widget on the screen. So these are shortcuts to enable you when you need assistance immediately. As soon as you press the SOS button or trigger it through a shortcut, the SMS with the live feed of your location is sent to your dear ones, along with the message that you are in trouble and need their assistance. In case of an Android phone, we have an added advantage that once the SOS is activated, your phone will automatically go in a silent mode, so that in case someone is trying to reach out to you when you are vulnerable, your phone won't attract the attention of your predator. In case of an Apple phone, we are not privy to use that to our advantage and would request you to put your phone on silent. As long as your phone is with you, we can trace you, your loved ones can trace you. So whenever you're in trouble, trigger the SOS and hide your phone. Because the first response when you send a message that I'm in need of help, the person tends to call you. If they call you, your predator knows that the phone is with you and will try to take it away. The live location updates are available through the URL based on Google Maps and fetched through GPS or by estimating the accurate location of the user, which your friends and family can track real time on a link that is sent as a part of this alert SMS. Your URL location movement gets updated every 15 minutes. In case you are moving, it makes a note of your trail also every 15 minutes and updates this link. 5 people receive this, but you can broadcast this message to as many as you want. So every one of the 5 recipients can send this link across to as many people for help. This facility is available for both the prepaid and the postpaid users, and it can be used all over India, all across all mobile phone operators like Jio, Vodafone. We're talking to everybody else. It's a standalone app, it's free, and it's for you to use. It's available for free download once again on Google Play Store for Android users and will be available on the iOS App Store for iPhone users latest by the 20th of April 2019. Please can I request Ms. Harmeen Mehta from Bharti Airtel Limited and Ms. Harjinder Kaur, President-elect FLO, Ms. Vinita Bimbet, past President FLO, and Ms. Reena George, Governing Body Member FLO, to join us on stage to launch the app. Can I request our esteemed panelists and our President to please help us launch and endorse this wonderful app. I request everyone present to please download the app, speak about it to your loved ones. This is our movement to promote, to protect our loved ones, and we need all your support to make this possible.
Thank you so much, ladies. So let me know when they've got their fill of photographs. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Yeah? No, I'll call you. Sit. And may we carry on with the rest of the event? Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now coming to the final bit of the day, our change of guard ceremony, which has been quite a year, dotted with amazing events, and Pinky has pretty much done it all. Pinky, should I now invite you for your final address as President FLO?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know all the excitement with my panelists, but I'm going to be giving you my final address simultaneously while they're doing their photo session. As I address you for the last time as the president of FICCI Ladies Organization, now time for me to get back home. I'm sure my family will be happy for that. I cannot... Photographers, a photo le sakte hai, lekin no shouting. Yeah. Shh. I cannot express in words what I am feeling when I would like to share a beautiful quote by Maya Angelou, which resonates very strongly with me today. My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. That is precisely how I live my life. My passion, compassion, humor, and style, along with the zeal to do something meaningful in life. It seems just like the other day that I took over the mantle from Vasvi. I can't imagine how soon this year has flown. But the last 12 months has given me so much. I would say this is no less than 2-year MBA. Only that I learned much more than just the business administration. I have learned to manage people, team management, time management, art of negotiation, being diplomatic, planning ahead of time, keeping calm during the most stressful times. The list is endless. It was a journey of self-discovery as I navigated along the path beyond the usual realm of my activities. I grew as an individual, discovered my inner strengths, and pushed my boundaries to the limits. I met many people, members, guests, speakers. Each one of them had something to offer, something I could learn from. I traveled to most of the chapters, and it was the most enriching part of my experience. Every place was so different. There was different culture. Every experience was wonderful. But there's only one common thread, the warmth of FLO. There's like a huge FLO family. So 16 states I can go, and I have somebody to call, somebody to reach out to. I couldn't have done anything without my presidium, my governing body members, chapter chairs, young FLO chairs, who truly supported me. Special acknowledgement to Jayanti, Poonam, and Vinita, who have been my pillars of strength support and guidance throughout the year. I mean, anytime I could call them and they're there for me. Heartfelt thanks for everything that you guys have done for me. My journey as president would have been incomplete without you. Thank you so much. Vasvi and Avantika, they were the next step. But, you know, I won't trouble them so much because they have children to look after. So, you know, so I used to give them maaf sometimes, but my other three pillars were just unbelievable. And the FLO Secretariat, led by Rashmi, with Ankurita, Anshu, Pushpender, Tabassum, and Natasha, and Biren, who gives me tea all the time the minute I reach there. A huge thank you for your unstinted support. I thank my sponsors for the year, Alana, Craft Beton, the Lalit, Janvi, and the sponsors for the 35th annual session is UPL Limited, Taj Palace, Shrey, Hestia, and Sebo of Sumita. I must say, the strongest support in our lives is our family. And a big, big thank you to my family who's always been my support. My husband, who gave me wings to fly, he gave me the strength to do what I want, but if I should be doing it 100%. That is very important for him. But today it was my turn to be his support. He's actually in Boston, taking part in the Boston Marathon. So he's missed my big day today. And the man who empowered me is my father, my mentor, and my role model. He's always saying, come on, do this, do that. I think most of the FLO ladies have seen my father in action. My mother, who's taught me grace and discipline. So whatever I am today is my mother. My parents-in-law, I'm feeling like crying now, I don't know why. My parents-in-law who really believed in me. My children who encouraged me and extended and supported family who stood by me. Your rock-solid faith kept me going. I can't thank you enough for understanding that I was committed to FLO and they accepted my absence during the year. My journey doesn't end here. I will be part of this growth story and contribute towards it possible in any way Harjinder wants me to be. As I hand over the reins to Harjinder and wish her all the best, I have complete confidence that she will do a fantastic job and keeping the flag of FLO right there. Thank you so much. I'm really going to miss all my Delhi members and being in Delhi. Thank you.
Stand in middle of the stage.
Right?
We put this on a net. Stand there. I would now like to invite Harjinder Kaur Tarwar on the stage, please, for Pinky to confer the new President's Medal. A big round of applause for the new President-to-be. I now invite Harjinder Kaur Talwar to make her acceptance speech. Harjinder. You can pull that out.
Yeah, I need a choki. Thank you. I needed a choki here, ladies and gentlemen, because respected dignitaries, esteemed guests, my friends and colleagues in FLO and FICCI, I extend a warm welcome once again to all of you. I'm not going to take too much of your time, but this is a very special and emotional moment for me. And I do want to share some thoughts with you. I'm a small town girl. I'm from Jeend, a small place in Haryana, and I think you can very well make that out from my accent. When I was young, I had a complex about my height. I usually used to go to my dad and say, "Dad, I'm short." I genuinely believed that it was a big disadvantage. And you know what my dad always told me? "Kad chota te ki hoya, kursi uchi lala." So what if you are short? Reach out for the high chair. I've always lived by that dictum till date. I thank my dad for telling me those lines, and they are here deep in my mind. Thank you, Dad. This is also the time when I want to say thank you to 3 other important men in my life. My husband, Bhartendu Talwar. There he is, if you can. Who is my support, my friend, and my guide in true sense of the word. I won't have been here where I am. I'm so sorry, but had it not been his unconditional support and love for me, thank you so much for being there. 2 other men are my children, Vidul and Kabir Talwar. You know, who've done all the things pretty much on their own. They're very independent. Why? Because as a working mother, I couldn't give too much of time to them. But with the little quality time that I had given to them, they've done exceptionally well. Boys, amongst all the things, I think you'll forgive me for being a lousy cook that I was. I'm grateful to past presidents of FLO who've given me this opportunity to helm the organization that they have built. Thank you for bestowing your faith in me, and I promise I will take care of this organization that you have built and more. I was only 23 years old when I started my business. You know, even though I was from a good family, well-to-do family, I decided to take a loan. I'm the managing director today of a company which is into the business of intelligent traffic and transport solutions in India. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to say that I'm the only woman in the country today in this business. It has been a long and challenging journey, but I have always been motivated by the desire of being financially independent, because I always believed that if a woman is financially independent, she can live with dignity. And that's the mantra of women empowerment for me. As you know, FLO's motto is power to empower. I would like to add a word. FLO's motto should be power to empower economically. So that is why in my year, this coming year, you'll see many programs, many which will focus on opportunities for economic empowerment of women. My business has given me a unique opportunity to be working with government at various levels, from at central as well as at state level. I want to leverage these experiences to build a partnership between FLO and government. For example, we tied up with Ministry of Agriculture, and we are launching a project for empowerment of rural women pan-India this evening itself. I must say, I'm ambitious about FLO. My vision for FLO is to be the thought leader for working women of India, for FLO to be their voice for policy change, and for FLO to be the guardian of their interests. I hope to achieve this vision with my very able presidium, my senior vice president, Janvi Fukan from Northeast, my vice president, Ujjwala Singhania from Mumbai, members of Treasury, Archana Luthra and Smriti Puri from Delhi, And last but not the least, Pinky Reddy from Hyderabad. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the Presidium is representative of all the regions of India, and that's the power of FLO. We are a pan-India organization, the largest chamber of commerce for women in country. I want to end this speech by expressing my gratitude to the most important person in my life, my mother, Raksha Bahal. My mother is a businesswoman. She's 75 years old. And you will be surprised to know that some 3 months ago, she's got an award from SIDBI for innovation in business. My mother is my role model, and Ma, thank you for shaping me, the woman that I've become today. Thank you so much. And it is more important because today we're talking about a girl child, and this is how she shaped a girl child when she had 4 children, 3 of them girls and 1 of them boy. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, with grace and pride, I hereby formally accept the position of 36th President of FLO. Thank you. I'm going to call you in the center now. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you President FLO for 2019-20, Harjinder Kaur Talwar. Pinky Reddy, immediate past president. No, stand here, please. All of you stand here in the front. Jhanvi Phukan, senior vice president. Please come up on stage. Our newly elected President, Ujjwala Singhania. Now our 2 treasurers whose term is over, we now have 2 new treasurers. Senior governing body member, Archana Luthra, treasurer FLO. Archana, please come up on stage. And Smriti Puri, joint treasurer. And finally, the anchor in all their lives, Rashmi Sarita. Rashmi. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dream Team 2019-2020. The GB names. We also have a very large governing body, and I know you all will not sit patiently to hear me rattle off about 100 names. So here goes. Here are the names of our governing body members 2019-2020. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being so patient, and look forward to seeing you over lunch. I can now announce them if you like. Do we have time? Can I have the list? Do you want me to announce the names? I'll announce them. Do you want to give me the list? So I'm going to announce it because, can you hear me? So I've already announced the Presidium. I've already announced the Presidium. This is normally the job for the Secretary General, but I shall take his place today. He's in America with the Finance Minister. Anuja Narayan Agarwal, Ajita Reddy, Anju Narayan, Chanchal Kaushik, Chandra Khanna, Charu Gupta, Devika Ramesh, Garima Jain. Ladies, what are you doing? Jayanti Dalmia, Jyoti Mayal. Next slide, please. Jyotsna Angara, Jyotsna Kaur Habibullah, Kiran Sharma, Lalita Nijhawan, Meena Mohan, Meera Goyal, Meenal Jain, Monica Chowdhury, Maurya Boda, Neha Garg. Next slide, please. Nidhi Goyal, Poonam Mahajan, Poonam Sharma, Rati Dandhania Mundre, Reena George, Ritu Agarwal, Ritu Das, Ritu Jain, Ritu Vadera, Rupa Patel. Next slide, please. Rubina Mittal, Ruchika Gupta, Saloni Mehta, Sandhya Sethi, Seema Kothari, Shobha Jolly, Shubha Kulkarni, Sudha Shivkumar, Sunita Kanoria, Suniti Abbey, Swati Maikar, Veena Agarwal. Next slide, ladies. Babita Jain, Taruna Patel, Shubha Bhandari, Swati Garodia. This is Ahmedabad chapter. Amritsar, Chairperson Arushi Verma, Meeta Mehra, and Gauri Bansal, immediate past chairperson. Next slide, please. Girls. Chennai, Chairperson Dipali Goyal, Rinku Mechri, and Anupama Shivaraman, immediate past chairperson. Next slide. Chairperson Poonam Bafna, Senior Vice Chairperson Pritika Balaji, immediate past chairperson Jayanti Manohar. Next slide. Hyderabad Chairperson Simple Chatwani, Senior Vice Chairperson Usha Rani Mane, immediate past chairperson Priyanka Arora, and FLO Chair Shilpa Datla. Next slide. Indore Chairperson Bhavna Bhalla, Senior Vice Chairperson Riya Chabria Puri, immediate past chairperson Rekha Mehta.
It's a film. Just Pune ka naam change kar lijiye Rupa.
Jaipur Chairperson Shweta Chopra, Senior Vice Chairperson Vandana Pamnani, and immediate past chairperson Natasha Chodia. Kolkata, ladies, will you change the slide? I might get it wrong from here. Jyoti Jain, Sunira Chamaria, and Suchu Chandra Bhutoria. FLO Chair Amrita Kajaria. Kanpur, Dr. Anuradha Vashne is the chairperson, and Dr. Aarti Gupta is the senior vice chairperson. Lucknow, Chairperson Madhuri Halvasia, senior vice chairperson Pooja Garg, and immediate past chairperson Renuka Tandon. Ludhiana Chairperson Nandita Bhaskar, senior vice chairperson Manut Kothari, immediate past chairperson Reena Agarwal. Northeast Chairperson Shruti Mala Duara, Senior Vice Chair Juhi Sabu, immediate past chairperson Sarita Sikaria. Pune Chairperson Ritu Chabria, Senior Vice Chair Anita Sanas, immediate past chairperson Sangeeta Lalwani. Uttarakhand, Nazia Izzuddin Chairperson, Senior Vice Chair Sarika Panchi, and immediate past chairperson Shilpi Arora. And finally, FLO Delhi Chairperson Mandira Lamba, Senior Vice Chair Karishma Bedi, immediate past chairperson Atashi Singhania. That's it. Thank you, everyone. On to lunch.
Thank you, Vinita, for being a great MC.
कोई तो बोले कोई तो बोले एक तुम ही हो जिसको याद है